Hi, if you're watching this, then you have officially made it to part 3 of a 3-part series on elaboration. So before we get started, remember that these are really just strategies to help you elaborate. If you can't think of something to say, these are things to fall back on to help you boost your paragraphs, boost your voice, boost your writing. For this lesson, you're going to need a few things. First of all, please find your part 1 notes, because that's huge. Secondly, the transitions list for part 2 will be really helpful. And the flea map handouts with the dotted line down the middle says part 3, which are probably in a folder. So I folded mine, but this is kind of what it looks like. Dotted line down the middle. Pause till you get all 3 of these things, and then we'll keep going. Please remember, we're going back to the beginning here. We want to make sure we're organized. So today we're just going to work on a paragraph. So we have a focused topic sentence, and we're going to create a flea map for just one paragraph. Remember types of elaboration, the clarification or explaining it. Anecdote is telling a little story. A general example is pretty much a fallback that works every time. Sharing an experience of yourself or someone else briefly. And using transition words to make sure you show your organization and move between ideas. So all these things we're going to put together. This is kind of what you are used to seeing for a flea map. All these boxes or maybe they're lines, and you're looking at the thesis and your reasons and your details and your elaboration and your wrap-ups, and maybe this gets a little overwhelming, but hopefully with all these strategies it'll be less overwhelming. So don't worry about that today. Today we're going to do one together, just a paragraph, and then I'm going to guide you through a second one with a different topic. So this is how far we're going to get until you need to get your work checked today. So I'm going to switch to the document camera. Make sure you have this piece of paper. Okay, so if this is the piece of paper that you have, it should say part 3 on the top, and we're going to work this together. So first of all, put your name on it, and then we're going to use a topic sentence that we've already talked about before, so this isn't quite so new. The topic sentence before was school is too much work. When we're looking at this, I want you to think about what types of elaboration would fit best. If clarification doesn't fit because it's a little too simplistic, then don't worry about it. But reasons can help, examples can help, anything, stories, anything like that. So we're going to write one together, and the goal is you want to support this statement and then elaborate. And if that means you clarify first and then give an example, then that's okay. So I'm going to label this a C to clarify, and I want you to, from now on, just try to make a mental note what type of elaboration you're doing. So I'm going to say, in other words, comma, because that's a good transition. In other words, there are way too many assignments each day, and it's okay if it doesn't fit in a box. This is just to kind of visually show you this, then this, then this, then this, and this, and this, and then we wrap it up. In other words, there are too many assignments each day. Now, what type of elaboration would fit well there? There's too many assignments. I could start telling a story about that, but I kind of feel like an example. So let's go a general example. For example, some of you, when you talked to me about this, talked about math class. In math, we might have to do 50 problems, but then also an hour of homework. That kind of makes it seem like it's too much. Make sure I'm still talking too much, not too hard, but too much. Not silly, but too much. Let's think of another class maybe. Too much work. So we could say also, we're going to give another general example. In English, we have to write every week and make it sound too much. We have to write every week and our hands get sore from all the work. Yeah, right. But anyway, our hands get sore from all the work. Now we need another elaboration. At this point, we probably don't need to clarify. We don't need to clarify what hands get sore means. But could we start kind of thinking of an experience? I want to think of another experience. I'm going to say experience of others. One time, I even heard of a student who had to wear a wrist brace because of all the writing. Crazy. So we've used a C, a G, another G, an E, an experience of someone else, and I think now might be appropriate to tell a story. Either we could talk about another class, because we're talking about how school is too much work and not just English, or we could go more with English. I think another class would help. So let's say science class. So furthermore, comma, science and history are no less, let's say too much work, it might be taxing, or no less taxing. And then let's maybe say, and by the way, this is just a general example. Now I'm going to go with an A. And an A, I might not need to write out every single word, but I'm going to say A for anecdote, and I'm going to talk about science fair, crafts, time, it's time consuming, last minute stress, plus a history project and here's my wrap up. All of these subjects are just too demanding. So here's the overall paragraph. We have a topic sentence. We clarified it, gave a general example, gave another general example, gave an experience of someone we heard about, gave another general example, and an anecdote, which probably would take 2 or 3 sentences. And then the wrap-up is kind of like a clarification of your topic sentence. And that is a crazy good paragraph. That is an elaborated paragraph that doesn't have to list off 50 reasons why school is too much work, but you're proving that school is too much work based on this. P.S. I don't really think it's all that much work. You can do this. So, on the next side of your paper, I'm going to give you a topic sentence, and I'm going to give you a clarification, and we're going to fill out this partly together, and then I want you to try the rest and show it to your teacher. So let's try this. Topic sentence, holidays can be tiring. To clarify this, we often feel exhausted after each major event. Clarification, you're explaining and you don't want to use the exact same words. So I'm going to leave this up to you, but here's what I think would be good. First of all, come up with a general example. Maybe pick a holiday. Give an example of how it was tiring. Then, maybe pick another holiday and give an example. And then you need to have an experience that someone, you or yourself, had. The third one, you're going to do another example of another holiday, and I want you to try an anecdote just like we had before. Your paragraph wrap-up we'll get to. So let's go through one example right here. We often feel exhausted after each major event. You need a transition word every single time you switch boxes. So, first, let's start with maybe the first major holiday, Thanksgiving. Requires so much cooking and preparation that we're too sleepy to enjoy it. And you could say more about that, but let's go on to another holiday. Another holiday. So maybe pick Christmas, pick New Year's, pick birthdays, vacations, anything like that. See what you can do with this. It may take a little time. If you want a suggestion, you don't have to use this, but my suggestion would be to talk about Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or whatever gift-giving type thing your family might know about or that you've heard about. You don't have to celebrate any of them. Just be able to write about it. Then you're going to go with an experience, like one time I heard about, and that's going to talk about the experience that this proves. And then you're going to give another example, either furthering Christmas or another holiday, and then you're going to tell a story. Once you come show me all this, we'll come up with a paragraph wrap-up together. Okay? So pause right now and work on this, and then we'll move on to the next part. If you're rejoining us, you've already had your work checked, and you're going to flip over to the back of your paper where it says Practice Part 2 of Lesson. And we're going to only give you a topic sentence, and then you're kind of like going to go through this part by yourself. So topic sentence for this, we're going to say theme parks are fun to visit. Theme parks are fun to visit. I don't think we need to clarify what fun means, so we're just going to go in with an example. So general example would be the rides are one of the best features. Your job is to come up with a type of elaboration right here that would prove this, and it may be that you include two types, but you're proving this right here. So think about what else are at theme parks. Rides are one of the best features. So we could also say, also, there are many fun games. we have our transition word. Let's put one here. So first, comma. Also, there are many fun games, and your job is to elaborate this. Pick one or two types. You don't need to clarify the word fun. Talk about experiences, maybe an anecdote. This third one I'm going to leave up to you, but it needs to say like something along the lines of thirdly or lastly or most importantly or something like that. So you need your transition and then come up with a reason and give an example. Your wrap-up sentence should kind of wrap all these up together. So you might say something like, and that is what I think about theme parks, because that's crazy. We're wrapping up that they're fun. So, theme parks really can be a fun activity for teenagers or kids or something like that. Okay, so go back through this and work on your elaboration of these 2 points. Come up with 1 point by yourself and elaborate that. I want to see the types. This was a general example. This was an example. This could be an example or furthering this. It's your call. So think that through and show it to your teacher and make sure it's amazing. Pause until you're ready. The last part of this, and this is where you're going to kind of show what you know. The last part of this, all we're going to give you is a topic sentence. Please keep in mind that each of these topic sentences could be part of a bigger thesis. So this is just one body paragraph. On your own, you're going to work on a topic sentence for something really simple. So I'm thinking simple, and then I kind of blinked out what we're going to write about. So I need you to pick one. I'm going to say blank is the best type of music. So this is your argument. It's just one paragraph. If you pick something that no one's heard of, then you might want to start with a clarification. If you pick something everyone's heard of, then you might give examples of artists. And then you're going to elaborate that in several different ways and wrap it up. You don't have to write every single word on your flea map, but you should have enough to where it could transform into something. Every time you switch boxes, you need some sort of transition. So I'm going to put a little T to remind you need some sort of transition. For your giant list of transitions, that'd be really helpful to use on this. This is a great way to elaborate, and if it starts to feel kind of patterned and formulaic, then you can switch it up however you want. My suggestion is state your opinion, maybe clarify it a little, give examples and experiences you've heard from other people and experiences you've seen in movies, and then a story of your own. A story of your own would make the voice and style so much more elevated. And then when you wrap it up, you say something purposeful, not that is why it's the best type, but this, like use something from this. The way it makes you feel certainly contributes to it being the best or something. I don't know. Something. Wrap it up, talking about the music, talking about your topic sentence, and that would be a crazy good paragraph. Imagine if you had like 3 crazy good elaborated paragraphs and intro conclusion. What? That is totally an essay. You tap the prompt, figure out the topic, audience, purpose. You cage your paragraphs, elaborate with different strategies. Awesome. So take your time on this. But don't stress, ask for help, and show us when you're ready.